or welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can see on the title, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of teaching in South Korea, and some of them are going to be a general of just teaching outside of the country. So I'm going to do this, because I just like organize, I'm going to do 5 pros and 5 cons. And of course, I'm going to start with cons because I like to end with pros. Alright, so mine might be a little bit more specific because I will mostly be talking about from my experience and from like my contract, which I work for EPIK. So if you are applying for EPIK, then this is going to be exactly the same, and if you're doing Hagwon or private schools, it's going to be similar. So let's start with cons, and I'm going to start from 5 and then go up to 1. Alright, so number 5, for cons, number 5 is not knowing the language. And this is the first thing that you're going to actually experience, just like moving to South Korea and like, or just any other countries, like not knowing the language and just being thrown in there. Like, it's kind of scary, and I feel like communication is key, so is comprehension, but like communication is key, and we all know that. And when you like physically cannot communicate just because of the lack of the language, it's going to be a little hard. So number 5, language, and that's like the first thing you will notice. And of course you can learn, this is also an opportunity like to learn the language, so that's good, but the first few months you're going to struggle if you don't already know the language. And it's great because I know at least in South Korea they offer a lot of classes. Some are, like a lot of them are free, so you can take advantage of that, so you can turn this con to pro. Yay. Okay, so number 4 also goes hand in hand with the language, and is also another thing that you're going to notice. It's the culture difference. So of course, when you start school, like I know that the first few weeks I was just told like, yeah, you can't do that, you can't do that, like, and it's not because like I was doing it because I was just being rude, it's just because that's like the culture that I come from. And so like there's a lot of things with culture, like one of the biggest things is like hierarchy based on age, and like just making sure you do the right thing when you talk to an older person compared to younger, and all these things. Like just also another thing is like a big thing is like clothing, and like what is considered like too revealing and what's considered not revealing. So like I know that at least in South Korea, like they wear everything like turtleneck even in the summer, and like whenever I wear something like low, it's like not even too low, but like just a little low, it's like, ooh, yeah, like that's against the culture. Showing shoulders against the culture. So there are just some things that are cons that you're going to experience, but there's always room for like making them and turning them into pros. So we just did number 4. Number 3, this actually will probably hit you like closer, like in the middle, like, or closer to the end. But this is like being lonely, like feeling lonely. And when I say that, I don't mean in your like day-to-day life. I mean like at work specifically, because there are more people in the office, like in the schools, that don't speak English compared to people that speak English. So chances are everyone will be speaking in Korean. Everyone will be speaking in like Chinese or whatever the country speaks. And a lot of times like at lunch and like in your desk and stuff, like they don't, unless they're specifically talking to you, they will try, but like otherwise they're not really gonna go out of their way to speak to you and things like that. So coming from, at least for me, coming from like the US, where like I worked with like pretty much everyone that spoke English, and I'm able to talk to them and tell them like, hey, how was your weekend? Like, you know, when we're eating lunch, just talk about life, or just talk about school and things like that. Going from there to just like pretty much the only thing I get sometimes is just like hi, and unless like it's another English teacher, like no one else speaks to me, even for like they don't have the need, or like we have nothing in common, like we don't teach together, we don't have to plan together, nothing, so they don't really talk to you. So that could actually lead into like feeling lonely at work. Not necessarily alone, but feeling lonely, like not being able to talk to people. And I've talked to people from my church that are not English teachers. They work like for a business that in Korea, and they also feel the same way like at lunch. So I don't think it's like a teaching field kind of thing. I think it's just a foreigner thing. Like yeah, like so I think it's just, it really is worth learning the language so that you don't feel lonely. I think we just did 3, and so number 2 is, oh, this is actually like a big thing. So the school years are different. Like school in the US starts August, September, and then it ends in May or June, and that's like a full year. And then you have like breaks in between. You have summer break, right, for like 2 to 3 months, and then you have winter break, like that whole like Christmas time, and then you have Thanksgiving break, like that's almost a week. So here it's different. School starts March 1st, and so that's also when your contract starts, maybe a little bit earlier because you have to do orientation, but school starts March 1st, and then in August we're off for like 2 weeks, only 2 weeks. That's summer vacation, and then you're back to school, and then school officially ends in February. So why is this a con, you would say? Because when, let's say you finish your contract in February and you decide you want to go back to the US and, you know, teach, it's going to be hard to find jobs in the middle of the year. Only like for US it's the middle of the year because it's February. It's not even like in December time where, you know, it's winter break and then you're coming back. Like it's in February where like second semester has kind of started already. So it's really inconvenient when you want to wrap up your life here and want to like find a job in the US. So yeah, like that could be a con, but I think the pros like outweigh it, for me at least. So yeah. And number 1 con is honestly the hardest for me. I don't know about you, but it's like just missing family, but not only like, oh, I miss them, but also missing out in like everything that's happening in their lives. Okay, so I know that for us, my brother and sister-in-law is expecting a baby this month. So is Sam's sister and brother-in-law. They're also expecting a baby this month, and I feel like I didn't really see them pregnant at all, like, because they've been pregnant while we were here, and they're also going to have a baby while we're here, and I feel like that's a big thing we're going to miss out. I know that I know some friends that are missing out on, like, their siblings' weddings, and just things like that, because you don't really get the time off, and if you do, like, it's probably just, like, a long way to, like, go all the way there for that, and so this is just, like, missing out in, like, events and occasions of your family. I think that's what hits me the hardest. I am grateful for technology, because, like, I get to FaceTime, we get to FaceTime our families, like, almost every Sunday, and so, like, that does bring you a little bit closer, but it is super hard, and, like, you wouldn't think it would be this hard when you first leave. At least I didn't think it would be hard, because I lived in Florida away from my family for 3 years, but I was able to see them on holidays, and, like, I know holidays are coming up for us, and, like, I don't know what we're gonna do, so, like, I don't know how we will be able to handle our feelings, but, you know, I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Alright, so those are the 5 cons that I have. Let's talk about pros. Alright, and I'm going to start with 5 again, and then go working my way up. So for pros, number 5 is honestly just gaining worldview. And I say that because, like, a lot of times when people that haven't, like, traveled outside of the country, they pretty much have, like, one point of view, which is what they know, and it's not like throwing shade or anything. It's literally just like you gain your view based on your you gain your view based on your experience, and if all you've experienced is this, that's all your view will be built on. So I don't know, I think like not leaving the country, like not traveling, just living in one place for like born and raised and like always there, I think that like shortens your view. Like it could have been a lot bigger, but coming here, I've seen like the different views. So some that I would probably keep, and some I would probably I should learn, you know, because they're good, and some I not necessarily would keep, you know. But it's nice to have that view from just different countries and things like that. So let's see, number 4. I guess like just teaching overseas is a great experience, and like not just to say like, oh yes, I experienced, you know, teaching overseas, but like when you put that in your resume, especially if you're like if you want to be a teacher like back in like the US, or you want to do anything in like higher education and things like that. Like I know I majored in intercultural studies in English, so English and intercultural studies, so like I want to work with international students back in the United States. But my thing is, I feel like saying like on my resume, yeah, I've worked overseas, like that's like one of the requirements, and like that not a lot of people meet. So I think that this would put me like higher up on the list. But like, yeah, I think it's a great experience. Like any employer would love to see that you've worked overseas for like a year or two, and like, you know, I think if I was an employer, I definitely would look at that and say like, this is a potential. So yeah, I think it would look great in your resume. Number 3 pro is traveling. Honestly, traveling is made so much easier, at least like in South Korea, because you have 2 like vacation times, and they're both 10 days each. So you have one in the summer, and then you have another one in the winter. But then in between, there is a lot of like long weekends, and then there is, I know next week it's Chuseok. It's kind of like a Thanksgiving, Korean Thanksgiving, and we don't have work on Thursday and Friday, so you can like travel somewhere, you know. And a lot of in this area, there's a lot to like visit. Like we just went to Bali. Like I know Japan is like so close, and like just there's a lot of places, you know, in Asia that you can see, and it's made easy because you can travel and you have no issue with like having to take days off, like, and you still have 6 days that you can take off. I wouldn't suggest you take those off for traveling, but if you want to do that, you could also do that. So you have 26 days that you can literally like divide up and travel to as many places as you can. So it provides you with opportunity for traveling, for those of you that like traveling. And number 2 kind of goes hand in hand with traveling. You would say, well, I have all these days off, but how am I going to get money? So for number 2, we're talking about money, okay? So I'm probably going to do another video of like how much teachers outside of the United States or EPIK teachers make, and I'm going to talk about like salary and everything in depth. But right now I want to talk about your opportunity for saving, because coming to South Korea, like, and teaching overseas, like a lot of the programs, the one thing that they offer is free housing. So like they pay for your rent, so that's a huge chunk that you don't have to pay. Like, so whenever you come here, like they literally give you an apartment, and like it's mostly fully furnished, but like not necessarily the best furniture, but like you're only here for a year or two or whatever, you know. But so they will give you that, so like that's a big chunk you can save on. And so you only have to pay for utilities, and then you pay for like phone, which is not much, and then what else do you pay for?
Electricity, water.
Yeah, like utilities and phone, and like food, of course, you know. And then transportation is super easy, like, and it's also really, really cheap. So yeah, compared to like what the things that you have to pay in the United States if you're to live in an apartment, even if you make the same amount of money that you would make in the US, it's still better because you can save more here. So you can easily save and, like, you know, use some of that money to travel. And I feel like whenever someone's given that opportunity, they should take it, because like it's all about experience, you know. And a lot of times we say like, oh yeah, like when we're young we don't have money, when we're old we don't have time, but I feel like this is the best way to compromise. I like to have time and money and live up your life. Anyway, that being said, like the first thing, which is like the best thing for me, because I'm an extrovert, is you get to meet a lot of people through this program, okay? So you get to meet a lot of people from like all around, not all around, like, but from few other countries that are allowed to be in this program. So I know that like I need people. I need just like women that I can like talk to, and just, it's great to have Korean people that you would talk to, but your English is really limited, or they're Korean, like your language is so limited that you can't really just talk to them in like how you would want to. So I think EPIK does a really good job at that, because you meet these people in orientation, like before you even get assigned to your school, before you even see your apartment. There is 1 week orientation that everyone must attend, and there they like provide your food. They provide your food, your like housing. It's in a university, so you like have a dorm and everything, and you even have a roommate. So like that's a great way to meet people, and you do a lot of activities and classes, and you're bound to meet someone. And I know that the people that I hang out with now, I met in orientation, and these people are like amazing people, and these people are the people that are your support system pretty much. So like our friends are from South Africa and Australia, and some are from America, but it's really cool because I get to learn about different things, and like maybe like visit their country, but I think it's great because it's kind of like having a support system. Whenever you're down, like, you could talk about it and they understand what you're going through, and whenever they have a problem, they will also like talk to you, and like you can understand them. And it's like the most beautiful thing, because in a foreign land, that's what you need, is people that can understand you, especially when you're here for like long term. So yeah, that's actually like all I have. So that was number 1, and that's all I have. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. These are some pros and cons. There's definitely a lot more, but I have to like tame them down to make this video short, and I know you just want like get the information, and I kind of just want to get dinner right now. So yeah, this is all I have for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and please comment if you are concerned about a specific pro or con. Probably not concerned about a pro, but like if you're concerned about any con, like just comment and I will definitely answer it, or you can like DM me on Instagram or email me. I'm here to answer your questions. But these are the pros and cons. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, peace.
Yeah, 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 yeah.